It's AWTITUDE representing for Lion's Voice. Yes, massive. This is the time for I and I, the lion them to tell I and I story, our story. Yes? And we reign and rule like this. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, I reign and rule. You can't take the lion vibes, people. If you no fool, cause we no Selassie reign and rule. Reign and rule. Selassie, I reign and rule. Queen Omega drop them in the fire, pull from them, no Queen Omega, she reign and rule. Royal Kushite, ancient essence, Emperor Selassie in a majestical presence, flash of all events, projecting through I and I events. We sing a song for the king, we bring joy and blessing and overstanding, yeah. We hear Jah every day. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, reign and rule. Yes, I lion vibes, Selassie, reign and rule. Attitude say that. Boondocks, Black Organization of Noble Diplomats optimizing expressions to the world. Till the world, till the end.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lion's Voice. Now put it, I jolly said that.
Greetings, this is Shiloh. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Shiloh said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it's Exodus. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Rastafari. Lion of it tried with lioness like I do. Empress on the front line, we need you.
Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion fought for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We're here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
The time has come for lions to tell I and I own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I and I is Rastabat chilling from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to your Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Yeah, like Rastafari, His Majesty and Empress men in bless. Yeah, man, hail him from St. Croix, Rastafari, I hear you. Aye.
Empress Manel, Alliance, your universally unfold, be told, Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
Yes, this is Tippy I, The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. You're listening to the Lion's Voice vlog. Respect and love from St. Croix VI to the world. Rastafari.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we could tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice, because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Oh, yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the light. Lion voice.
Well, great is the Almighty, and greatly to be praised in the city of Haile Selassie I, the mountain of His holiness.
Yeah, from Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, you know, the whole entire continent.
Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, Accra to Addis Ababa.
Yes, it's beautiful continent, better control, mama.
Very beautiful.
From Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, I smile for Mama.
I hear you call Mama Africa. Been so long since I see Mama. Father of Africa set the law. The lion come and dismantle Babylon flaw. We gonna use solar energy, use sanitation to build the ecology. We utilize it in green technology. We hailing Haile Selassie first without apology. Then we build the youth them economy. We dismantle Babylon monopoly. We teach the youth them how to live properly. Tell them make sure them have the title for them property.
Yes, this beautiful continent, better control, mama.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chasmat Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to Lion Talk Live, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Blessed African Victory Day, blessed Patriots Day. Today, May 5th, marks the anniversary of the triumphant re-entry of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I into Addis Ababa to raise the Lion of Judah flag in the Holy Mountains once again. We commemorate this every year around the world. This is a time of rejoicing for the Rastafari faithful. So now that we have Rastafari independent non-aligned media, we can do nothing less than celebrate and to share the history of this triumphant day. And we're going to do that this evening with this historic broadcast. Tonight, we have a guest that is a favorite for the Global Lion Pride, encyclopedic knowledge of world events and world history. We're going to have him tonight in rare form. We're partnering with Iyaad Radio, which is our brethren Dreadlocks article, Dreadlocks. They're going to be coming to us live from House of Dread in Kingston, Jamaica, straight from Vineyard Town. They're going to be coming with us shortly. They're just setting up their setup. So it's going to be one of those classic episodes. So get your ital snacks, get your meditation steady, because we're going there tonight to really go into the history. A lot of us know generally what took place on May 5th, but it's good for us on these dates to really come together and to rejoice, because it wasn't always a sure thing. Yes, for the faithful it was sure, but the overwhelming odds seemed like Italy would be triumphant. May 5th, 1936, the Italians entered into Addis Ababa and the capital fell to Italian aggression. Now, the reason that we say Ethiopia was never conquered is because their control never extended outside of the cities. So that is one of the reasons why we say that Ethiopia was never conquered. However, we make sure to let people know that Ethiopia did go through some great tribulation. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, were victimized. Serious thing, So we also have to, on this day, remember those who fought for I and I, because this was the beginning, and we're going to talk about it with Bongo Jerry, because one of the things that we do with Rastafari media is put things in its proper context, and we want to put this His Majesty's rise in the context of not just the freedom of Ethiopia, but for what we now know as the Global South. This is the part that's left out of all of the Western and even Global South publication, because none of them give His Majesty his role. He was totally removed from history. But this is the day, May 5th, 1941, that is the beginning of the ending of colonialism. This is the day symbolically. Italy was defeated far before, but this is the day symbolically that colonialism fell at the hands of Kadamawi Haile Selassie I. So we are very excited again for tonight's episode. And if you're watching live, big up yourself. I see the Lion Pride coming in from early. Big up Samson Benji out of Germany. I see the eye early with the five pound that look like, or €5 look like some different kind of money. Because the lion is roaring while Babylon is sinking. Enough respect to all who wish Ethiopia well. Bongo Jerry and Kwasi. Again, big up Samson Benji, one of our faithful Lion Pride out of Germany. Big up yourself, King. We always give thanks for the eye. Attributions to the family. Big up Maisha Green, Ras Maisha and I family from outer Pittsburgh. Naya Bingi Angel Warrior tuning in from early. Big up Ras Roots in from early. Big up Queen Mother Moses. Blessed May 5th African Victory Day, watching from Ocho Rios, Jamaica at Honorable Profile for Naya Bingi Victory Day and Honorable Profile Earth Day. Hands yellow, heart red. Please, Queen Mother Moses, hail up Bongo Profile for I. Make him know that I man send love, and the Lion Voice Network send love to our great ancient days. The Asian said, if I want an interview, I have to come and sit up with him in physical. So look out for that. Next time I'm in Jamaica, we make sure go check the Asian. But yes, tonight it's gonna be one of those. I'm not sure if Bongo Jerry can turn on your camera. We have the Asian in the place. We are getting ready. It's coming live from House of Dread in Jamaica. This is a collaboration with Iyaad Radio. Big up Dreadlocks, the article Dreadlocks. We're going to be doing something we have never done before, which is a collaboration. And we say we're going to be working together to try to facilitate. I'm going to try to have Bongo Jerry on at least once a month. And we'll do it in collaboration with Iyaad Radio. We want to try to put in the ability for people to call in and to reason with the guests. And Iyaad Radio will bring that technological. So we're testing out. So be patient with us today. We're working on technical difficulties and different things. But tonight, family, it's power. Before we bring in the Asian, we're also going to be looking at a video that was sent to I by Ras McCunningham. It was a prayer that His Majesty had sent into the warriors, the Patriots, and I want to play that courtesy of our brethren, Isle Culture. Our sister Janelle, they've started a podcast and they have created some great content, and this is one of the things that we give thanks for in Rastafari independent non-aligned media, is that what we see now is that others are rising up the media, and I'm gonna ask all of our Lion Pride family to go and to support this new YouTube channel. It's called the Raspective channel. I want everyone, and we're gonna use it to just set the palette of today. It's a very powerful video. We'll watch it together, and then I'll also play it again so that Bongo Jerry can put in his sound on it, because these are the beautiful informations that are coming to fore, and we want to again be on the cutting edge of these things. So hold on, let me just add this. All right, so we're gonna check this out. This is the Raspective. I'm asking all of the people to please just work with us and follow. Go and subscribe to the Raspective. This is Rastafari Media, and this is our family. They're in Ethiopia. Let's just play this vibration. Let me know if you can hear the sound. Big up Isle Culture, big up Sister Janelle, big up McConnell. We brought the show in attention. African Victory Day, family.
Greetings. This is His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I Public Trust Freedom Prayer, published in Addis Ababa, 1936. This is reproduced by the Raspective, curated by Ross Stevenson and Janelle Hornet.
I'm going to pause that. I see Bongo Jerry is ready. Let me bring in Bongo Jerry so we can watch it together, and then we'll take it from there. So give a warm welcome to Bongo Jerry. Royal greetings. Are we a little early? We're too early?
Not at all, no. I just remember this evening start at 6 o'clock. So it's after 6 in Jamaica, you know.
Yes. Can I hear I, Bongo Jerry?
Well. Yes, man. You hearing me?
Yes, I. Clear. Iyaad. mic up and everything. You're a little distant. Let me see if we can get a focus. Talk up, Bongo Jerry.
Yes, welcome. I'm being welcome. Thank you very much for the welcome to the program. Today, the 5th of May, anniversary of the liberation of the first country liberated in the Second World War. All of 4 years before the war came to an end. Just 2 years into the war, 1 year and a half into the war.
What a day. Bongo Jerry, can you see my screen?
I don't have a screen in front of me. One is nearby. You have a screen, relax.
Because I wanna just
I can't see it because it turned away from me, but what are you showing? What are you going to show here?
I was gonna play something about the Victory Day, but we can play it another time.
Is it a visual? Is it a visual?
Yeah, it's a visual. It have audio too, but there's a visual that goes with it. You can listen to it. Can you hear?
Yes, I can hear.
All right, I'm gonna play a little bit of it just to set the tone of our reasoning tonight. Let me just play a little bit so we can set the tone. All right, listen.
Presenting the perspective. Today's narration will be by Ross Stevenson. And now, O Ethiopia, rejoice in the power of your God and your King. Your patriots are unanimous. Your freedom will never be touched. Strong are your mountains. You do not fear any enemies. Long live our victorious King, for our glory and honor. Preface. Ethiopia, the land of our fathers, the land where the gods love to be. She is one of the first nations mentioned in the Holy Scriptures. Her history stretches back to time immemorial. Across the pages of history, one finds countless instances where Ethiopia stood at the center of the world stage. In 1935, Italy invaded Ethiopia, igniting what would become the greatest war of our time, World War II. When the fascist forces of Benito Mussolini failed to overcome the tactical brilliance of the Ethiopian defense, they turned to inhumane warfare. Mustard gas was deployed, not only on the battlefields, but in civilian regions far from the front lines, in a cruel attempt to decimate the population. In 1936, His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I and Ethiopia's war ministers resolved that the emperor should go to Geneva, Switzerland to appeal to the League of Nations for international support. From his exile in Bath, England from 1936 to 1941, the emperor waged a powerful cognitive and diplomatic campaign. While His Majesty fought on that front, Ethiopian freedom fighters, the Black Lions, under the leadership of Ras Ababe Adagai, continued their resistance within the homeland. They held the line until the day of victory.
Big up Haile culture.
In June 1936, the emperor authored the Freedom Prayer and issued it to all Ethiopian forces. It was a spiritual and motivational beacon designed to uplift the morale of the soldiers and remind them of their sacred heritage and what was truly at stake. It was during a chance meeting in Addis Ababa with Janelle and a local Ethiopian that a copy of the Freedom Prayer was exchanged. Written in Amharic, the document carried with it a quiet power. When it was brought to the translation office near a stadium in the Mexico district of Addis Ababa, it was received with reverence. Only after the translation was returned did we understand why. The Freedom Prayer gives voice to the heart of Ethiopia, expressing a deep and unwavering love for nation and land through words of bravery and valor.
All right, I'm gonna pause it right there. Just a little history. Bongo Jerry. We're gonna share, and please go and support another Rastafari channel. This is the Raspective, Highly Culture, Sister Janelle out of Ethiopia. Make sure you go over and subscribe to their platform. Let's get them monetized, get them up and running. They're doing some amazing content, as you can see, the editing, everything like that. Highly Culture, is one of those creatives. Him do everything. He's an artist, him editing, visual paintings, everything. So that's just to set the stage for this reasoning with Bongo Jerry. So Bongo Jerry, let's take the history from early. Let's take it from why did Italy, blessed by Victor Emmanuel, by the Pope Pius V, why were they seeking to conquer Ethiopia?
All Europe was seeking to conquer all Africa from more than 100 years before. Well, at the end of the century, the 19th century, 1884, near the end of the century, 1884 to 1885, they had a conference of all Europe meeting to plan that which parts of Africa they are not already contaminated and infiltrated, they would divide up the rest of Africa between themselves. And that conference was held in Germany.
The public trust.
And they divided the map of Africa and agreed on different countries in Europe being approved and supported to capture and invade those countries. Now, Ethiopia was not really named publicly in the plan, so I'm going to that, but the plan was there. Ethiopia had been independent for thousands of years. The plan was there. Italy had already tried to capture. Italy had already captured the sea coast of Ethiopia, because I think the Ottoman Empire, the Turkish Empire, the European Muslims, the Turks, did already penetrate and infiltrate the coastline of Ethiopia, what you call Eritrea. And both the Greeks and the Romans always tried to penetrate and control the coastline, and therefore the primary Ethiopia coastline. Now, the Italians came again now in the most organized way in 1896, just 11 years after the Berlin Conference. The Italians on their own decided that although it was not agreed in public in the Berlin Conference 1884-85, they decided them going to make a push now. 1896, they failed. They failed, and Ethiopia became more and more involved in international affairs because the Emperor Menelik, the emperor before His Majesty Menelik, his cousin, realized that as long as Ethiopia is isolated, as it traditionally isolated itself, the rest of the world, especially Europe, would gradually come and take Ethiopia now. So anyway, by the time Tafari took control of Ethiopia, he took control of Ethiopia, of Abyssinia, it was then known as Abyssinia, took control of it in the middle of the First World War. First World War lasts from 1914 to 1918. Haile Selassie take control. Tafari, not Haile Selassie. Rastafari. Tafari take control of Ethiopia in 1916 and was named head of government, running the government. But there's an emperor over him, an empress, the daughter of the previous emperor Menelik. He did not get full control of Ethiopia till 14 years later, in 1930. But in the meantime, he was running the government of Ethiopia. During the World War, Haile Selassie already decided that after the war, he's going to get even more involved in international affairs because it's his only way to stay safe. So at the end of the World War, there was a plan to have a world organization that keep contact with all independent countries in the world and therefore would make it harder for big wars to break out, especially anything like a world war again. It was an organization organized to stop and prevent the possibility or minimize the possibility of any more world war after the First World War. Where shall we go from there, Kwasi?
What you know what I love how you contextualize the victory and the rising as a liberation movement, not just for black people of the world, but for the global south. And I think it's important that people understand or overstand Rastafari as really a liberation movement overall, and that this global elite represented by Italy, because as you say at the Berlin conference, they were given their share of, which included Ethiopia, which was a challenge, a direct challenge to the Catholic Church as the seat of Christendom, the throne of David in Ethiopia being a direct challenge to their primacy as the vicar of Christ, meaning that the Pope states that he stands in the place of Christ until the return, which is in direct contravention to the entire prophecy from the reign of King David that promised that through the loins of King David he should rise up, a man shall on the throne as long as the sun and the moon endure, and all of these things. So let us, from that liberation lens, let us characterize first Ethiopia's entry into the League of Nations, why that was a strategic chess move. Obviously, Rastafari was not an idiot. He knew that Europe had designs on Ethiopia. He knew that an attack was inevitable. And if you look, even as the Chaz match, as young as the records show, they show that His Majesty was trying to prepare Ethiopia from a military perspective, importing weapons, trying to import weapons, trying to train an army, bringing in the Belgium, the Indians, to train a modern army, knowing that the traditional Ethiopian style of war would be outmatched should they, when the time comes. So explain these chess moves that His Majesty was making as Rastafari. Why did he enter into the League of Nations, being the only African nation at that time?
Well, the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, it means a great turnaround. Revolution means a great turnaround. The turnaround from making things manually or with simple machines to the development of more complex machines and the development of machines to do to assist in any kind of work. Human beings would have to be involved in most kind of work.
Yes.
But machines, then the principle of how to make machines. Once you know the principle, and you don't develop machine by accident, like how the wheel was discovered. The facility of the wheel was discovered accidentally. But if you have a system of reducing work, you can now plan and make any type of a machine. So now that the Industrial Revolution take over the world in the middle of the 19th century, also military work become industrialized. When military work become industrialized, if you don't have military equipment of a mechanical kind, you're going to fall behind with only elephant, donkey, zebra, camel for move you or for pull even cannon. Cannon is a form of machine.
Yes,
you have to move it by a draw it with camel. You're going to draw it slow. That is coming like a tortoise. Anyway, Tafari determined during the war that he realized that there was an organization formed in 1884. The Conference of Berlin wasn't just a conference, It's an organization. So far I know, say the whole of Europe have an organization designed to capture the rest of the world where them never capture yet. Now, him realized during the war that the American president, he had thoughts along that line. Many people have thoughts along that line. I dream of having a method of stopping all war in the future.
Yes, yes.
Now, the president of America named Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson. Also
Yeah.
the honorary Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, who screened the birth of a nation in the White House, the first motion picture, which was a propaganda film about the Ku Klux Klan. It's the same Woodrow Wilson, but continue.
Yes. So now America, the United States of America, from them declare independence in a revolution, 1776. Them said to keep themselves safe, them not involved in no international affairs, them just mind them business. You call that isolationism. Staying by yourself, I have a bigger chance that nobody no come trouble you because you stay by yourself. Well, after 150 years, after 100 years and 50 years, America get draw in a world war. They get draw in a few little regional things before.
Yes,
But they
yes.
get draw in a world war one. But them never come in till them get an agreement from who drawing them into the war to rescue them, which is England and France. Say we America only going to come into the war if you decide, say, as the war done, we intend to win. And as the war done, we must form an organization that is a conference. A big organization than the Berlin organization. The Berlin organization keep the Berlin conference. But Wilson said, we could keep a bigger organization with more nations in it, all independent nations, to stop any war from spread all around the world. So, Tafara in Ethiopia say, not only am I going to lead the change of the name of Ethiopia from Abyssinia. Ethiopia was known as Abyssinia in the world community for hundreds of years, more than 1,000 years. No, less than 1,000 years, because it's really a name we derived from the Arabic and other languages. It means mixed people,
yes.
People of more than one nationality mixed together and more than one physical features.
Every type of black man in Ethiopia.
What's that?
I said every type of phenotype of black man live in Ethiopia.
Yes, not only black man, but Abyssinia did refer to the mixture between the African mainland of black man and the Arabian Peninsula people, called Ethiopia population built up of interaction between Arabia and Africa. Arabia is a subcontinent, almost a continent, but not quite as not half as big as Africa. Just like how India is a part of Asia, but is a subcontinent, very big, but not the size of the big continent. Australia also is recognized as a subcontinent, almost a continent. Anyway, the Ethiopian population over hundreds of years become mixed between African black people and a slightly lighter shade of people in the Arabian huge piece of land we call peninsula.
Yes, and we have to note, Bongo Jerry, that was because of Ethiopian colonization of that region during Emperor Caleb, and again during Izana first and then Caleb. So it was Ethiopians, for example, the year that the Prophet Muhammad was born was called the Year of Elephants, because an Ethiopian general invaded Mecca that year with an elephant back, an Ethiopian general who ended up running Yemen. So when you look in Yemen, you will still see that Ethiopian characteristic. But it wasn't Arabia. Because we have to clarify, because some people feel like Arabia come and colonize Ethiopia, why the people look like that. But it was the Ethiopian for hundreds of years who had colonized Arabia. But continue.
Arabia is not a country.
Yes.
Arabia is a peninsula.
Yes.
And more than one country always in Arabia. So Arabia is not a country. Arabia is a region and a subcontinent. And most of the population of that subcontinent are described as Arab.
Yes.
Many of them very dark black. Many of them lighter color. mixing more with the more far eastern people and the far northern people. The far eastern people is India and places to the east of India. The more northern people is Turkey and Iran and people to the north, more lighter color. But the Arabian is a vast array of people. Arabia is a continent, not one country.
Yes.
And although Ethiopia, although what was known as Abyssinia, known as by various names over the time, because even before Abyssinia, it was known as Sheba or Seba, Saba. And Saba is not just Ethiopia alone or Abyssinia. Saba is two sides of the Red Sea. Two sides of the Red Sea, like how the Gulf of Mexico, part of the United States, upon one side of the Gulf of Mexico, and part upon the other side. Florida on the eastern seaboard is on one side of the Gulf, and Texas, another place where America grabbed from Spain, Texas, California, and them places, on the other side. So it is that Seba was most of what you call Ethiopia now, Sudan, and huger place, and going over the Red Sea to the other side, two sides of the Red Sea. That was Seba, which is before the name Abyssinia. So over the thousands of years, there's 200,000 year human being a record human history. Human being is more than 200,000 years in existence. But for 200,000 years, human being been keeping a check on human knowledge and keeping a record of human knowledge. And in that time, many times Sheba, Abyssinia, Ethiopia overrun the whole Arabia and dominate it. And more time, people from the Arabian side overrun the other African side and dominate it. It's a thing that go back and forth. Whenever we believe that we and our people was in a dominant position for all history, we ignore the facts, either because we didn't know the other facts or because it feels better to say that we were always dominant.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons that I am no royalty, although some of my brethren and sisters are royalty. And those of my brethren and sisters who is royalty may not rule over me. And I have no desire to rule over no one. But I am no royalty.
Yes.
Because I know that my sense of self-worth don't depend on me being part of no ruling class or my country dominating other countries. So now, over the years, from the time of Saba, and there's more ancient names, many ancient names for the people of Africa. And the one of the best known configuration is Sheba. And even in the time of the Queen of Sheba, ruling from in an Ethiopian island, great part of our empire and kingdom was over in Arabia. There's a back and forth to go a long time. So anyway, long story now is that Haile Selassie, knowing that America put forward a very good suggestion, we will not get into the war and help anybody till all such who want help from us agree that after the war we're going to have an ongoing conference. So you have conference that last 1 day, conference that last 1 week, conference last 1 month, conference that last 1 year. But you also have the permanent conference, which you call an organization. So like the United Nations, the Organization of African Unity, even the Federation of America is a permanent conference. Conference means when people confer with one another. And these conferences go on sometimes permanently, and sometimes the people who participate in the conference are selected for a period of time, and maybe after a period like 5 years in Jamaica or 4 years in the United States, you elect new people to attend the conference, and the ongoing conference is called, it might be called a government, it might be called a federation, it might be called the Organization of American States, or the Organization of African Unity, but these are conferences. So Tafari here in Wilson, and had the same kind of idea before Wilson, was waiting for the end of the World War to both change the name of Abyssinia and both to enter Abyssinia, Ethiopia, into this ongoing world conference that is a conference to keep peace perpetual in the world. They tried, the European nation tried to keep out Ethiopia after the World War done by different means, because through them want to come near the rest of Africa. Them don't want certain country in the conference. They must keep peace amongst white people. They was thinking of the league to be a league of white people in the world. So them keep out Ethiopia for a while. Eventually they had to admit Ethiopia. Once Ethiopia at the conference, then how they, not only that, Haile Selassie, Tafari, the young man running Ethiopia from 1916, heard about the next African far away in the Western Hemisphere organizing a permanent conference. That young man come from Jamaica, born 5 years before Tafari in 1887, organized a conference in Jamaica to spread around the world anywhere the African people are. That conference named Universal. Universal, and it named Improvement. So it's Universal Improvement. That is a perpetual work. That's not just an organization, it's a permanent conference. That a conference to improve the people out of Africa anywhere them is in the world. So them going to permanently associate. So that was a conference Marcus Garvey started when him start the UNIA. Only thing him use an old-fashioned name named Negro, which some Africans never accept from the beginning. Ethiopia is one of the places where no accept the name Negro. So Marcus Garvey, being a colonial subject, speaking English, use the name Negro and never feel no way about it. But many people did already decide that we are not Negro, but we still go along with Garvey's effort to build a permanent conference, to build that ongoing conference. So Tafari now decide to support that conference and be part of that conference. Him send delegate to Marcus Garvey, and him contact Marcus Garvey. From Marcus Garvey, leave Jamaica and go America. Tafari contact him. So when the war done now and them keep Ethiopia out of the League of Nations, at the same time Marcus Garvey also trying to get UNIA to be a member of the League of Nations, and League of Nations both shunning both Ethiopia and shunning the UNIA. So the UNIA used to have to even use other countries' delegates to get in a word at the League of Nations in the early years 1922 come up. Matter of fact, many seamen, man, we travel upon ship all around the world, were some of the contacts that Marcus Garvey used to use to reach people in other countries and to reach other places and conferences. Many seamen, especially Japanese seamen and other seamen. And so it was even Tafari and many other people who were not fully free and secure used to use the traveling people of the world to make contact with other people. So seamen and migrants and farm workers and all different kind of people carry out these work. Yes, let's continue. What? Come in again, please.
No. Continue, because you're giving us serious history. We're leading up to Ethiopia's admission, because we have to talk about the great betrayal, the Hor-Leval Pact.
Yes. Ethiopia was finally admitted to the League of Nations, but right away, some of the countries that capture territory in Africa near to Ethiopia decide to appear friendly to Ethiopia in the organization, in the conference, in the league, at the same time planning to disarm Ethiopia and help them friend come in the back door. So meanwhile, them talking to you and you facing them friends circling behind you. Now these two countries was England, that had captured a piece of Africa near to Ethiopia, that are the so-called British Somaliland, and Kenya, and them take away a piece of African land from Germany after the First World War, named Tanganyika. Them take away that and have land near to Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Tanganyika, uh, and some part of Somaliland and other places near to Ethiopia. France have piece of Ethiopia, piece of Africa near to Ethiopia, then called Djibouti.
Djibouti.
And them have some French place then called them French Somaliland. So they are planning now to con Ethiopia and keep Ethiopia disarmed or with old-time arms, meanwhile helping Italy to get back in and make a victorious attack this time after them failing 1896. There comes Tafari, take Ethiopia government in control. 20 years later, 1916, and here it is now. England and France deceptively weakening Ethiopia and undermining Tafari, especially after him crowned emperor in 1930. This undermining him and trying to keep him from getting a modern arms so that Italy may make a next attempt. So Italy start this attempt now. Them start a skirmish in 1934 near to the border with Ethiopia.
The wall incident, the famous wall incident.
Yes, the people in Jamaica have a proverb about how to stay away from trouble when a lot of people live near together. They advise them one another, say, careful about the pipe side or the public water supply, the well and the standpipe in the village and in the district, in the ghetto. Because like the woman of the well of Samaria, you have a well where the whole community gather water, and when plenty people come to the well, people have to wait until other people don't catch water. And that's why the Jesus did have to wait when him see the woman with a whole heap of vessel gathering water, the woman of Samaria, and then him know say little more somebody, most likely a male, is going to come there with 2 buffalo or 2 camel or 2 donkey and help her carry in the water. But in the meantime, she is supervising and moving the different vessels them one by one till all 20 vessels full. So it's a system when the Jesus got the well of Samaria there. Him knows that this woman is collecting water for a whole lot of people, but she going to be a long time. So him said to her, all right, before you fill up the whole of the bucket, them give me a little one drink in my palm of my hand. So it is now, the people in Jamaica always warn one another. Careful when you go a pipe side where a whole lot of people use the pipe or standpipe or the well, because that is where them always make trouble. When people want to make trouble with you, they usually send out their woman to quarrel with your woman.
Okay.
And that is how many people and forces and males make war with one another, by make them woman make trouble with one another a pipe side. Okay. So the Jamaican proverb said, trouble always start a pipe side. So Italy now go interfere in some of Ethiopia well them. We start a war from 1934. It never bust out into full-scale war. After a few skirmishes, it bust out in 1935.
Yes.
When it bust out 1935, Italy knows that Ethiopia only have some old-time arms from in the same Adowa battle 30 years before. Yes. And them get a few more arms during the First World War, but them not up to date in armaments, and them don't up to date at all in the motorized division, whether it's motor upon the ground, or it's motor in the air, or it's motor upon the water. So Italy go and try steal a march. You know, when you have fight, if you steal a march when the other one march, the two of you usually a march same time, you know, marching towards one another from hundreds of miles away, or 10 miles away, or 1,000 miles away. But when the evening time come, you take break off of the march and you eat and you sleep till next morning. You get up before they start march. But sometimes you can steal a march on the other side by when them things say it's peace and safety and you go and sleep and them supposed to sleep. Them march through the night. And when you wake up and believe that them is still 400 miles away, them just outside of your border or just like a few miles away from you. So Italy decide now to steal a march by Ethiopia, invade Ethiopia, because Italy is an industrial nation, have industrial machine and manufacturing modern arms. not manufacturing ancient arms like Ethiopia, filing down stone to make spearhead and making slingshot and making boomerang and making some one pop shotgun out of pipe or making explosive, put in a conch shell, I explode. Italy decided to steal a march, a running for Ethiopia after starting the skirmish in 1934, steal a march 1935. And Ethiopia only have about 2 planes them time than all them thing. So by 1935, Ethiopia is in serious straits. And the council that advised the Emperor of Ethiopia, the Crown Council, make a decision that since Tafari been traveling from him a youth, and since Tafari know the outside world, Tafari should go out in the outside world and gather some support because Tafari in contact with the black people in the West. Through Marcus Garvey and others, I'm in contact with the black people in the West, including Jamaica. Tafari in contact with the people in Jerusalem. Tafari in contact with the people in Arabia. And I'm also in contact with some of the European, and I'm already joined the League of Nations.
Pick up in a little bit there, Bongo Jerry, because I want to talk about, because one of the things that we don't talk about when we talk about the victory is some of the treachery that came from in Ethiopia. Aside from the Eritreans who were co-opted, and it's very sad, you know what I mean, because I'm reading a book right now, Haile Selassie's War, that goes Anthony Mackler, and it's very sad when you read about the complicity of the Eritrean, because the Eritrean was fighting their brothers to be an Italian slave, you know, because had Italy won, then you're still a slave. So it's very sad to read about all of these, because a lot of the forward regiments were Eritrean soldiers, you know, made up of Eritrean soldiers, although there were Italian brigades that were there. But a lot of them were Eritrean soldiers, and then you had the Ethiopian treachery like Haile Selassie Guksa, you know what I mean, and some other who defected His Majesty because he wanted to show that this was a war of aggression, an unprovoked war of aggression. He withdrew the Ethiopian forces 2 miles into the border. So the Italians in the beginning, even when they came into Ottawa, was largely unopposed because His Majesty had withdrawn his forces from the borders, knowing, and they invaded on October 2nd, which was my Earth Strong, and Ethiopia responded October 3rd. But the breach took place October 2nd, and it's serious. It's very sad, and someone here is saying that you should learn about the real history of the Eritrean people. I'm very open. I mean, I've studied a lot. You know, I know about Bahar Nagash, the ancient, the Sea of the Kings, and Eritrea by its ancient name. I know about the conflicts with Tigray, with Ras Alula. So I'm fairly well read, but I'm always open. But it just saddens me because, again, even the name Eritrea comes from Italy. You know, Italy named that area Eritrea. So it just saddens me to read about our black brothers fighting against their black brothers, because history does, you know, the Pan-African history that is going to be written is not going to look at that well. But again, I'm open to learning more about the history, about the kingdoms of Eritrea. As I said, I'm fairly well read, but I could be educated. But there was treachery, and the Italians sent messages, and you had ones who defected to the Italian side, permanently leaving a stain on their name, on their honor. And a lot of it was because they didn't know the stakes. They were not familiar. They did not know that Ethiopia was the only last independent African space. And we don't consider Liberia independent here because of the history with the American Colonization Society and the Firestone Company, which were essentially in control. So Liberia was independent in name only. Ethiopia was really the only sovereign black empire remaining on the continent. They were independent tribes because you could say the Maasai and Kenya were never really conquered, certain independent, but the nation state or the empires were in Africa all fell to European aggression, except with the exception of Ethiopia. And those and I bring this up because even though it's an uncomfortable topic, Bongo Jerry, because we have black people even to this day that will take money from an outside source, you know what I mean, against their brother, seeking advantage and not really examining the whole chessboard to see what really is going on. You know what I mean? We have to seriously look at that, and we have a guest who said Ethiopia still under colony, brother. Educate yourself before. Hold on. What about Ethiopia? Do you know what gave you that name? A great example for the. Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to read the comment, but go ahead, Bongo Jerry.
Yeah, this person is saying, educate yourself, brother. Do you know who gave that name Ethiopia, and so on and so on?
Yes.
The name Habasha was not from the Ethiopian language originally. And the name Ethiopia is not from the Ethiopian language. And so on and so on. We are not ignorant of the fact where these names come from. Eritrea and the name Ethiopia derived from a Greek word. Therefore, we're not claiming that is an Ethiopian word. But stage by stage, Tafari decided to change the name from Habasha, Abyssinia, to Ethiopia. And further updates take place from time to time. Now, the fact is this. Hold on, the fact is this. Treachery is a very common and widespread characteristic all over the world. In every community, in every nation, in every association, in every family. It might not be common in some families, but it exists there. And the potential is always there for treachery, betrayal, and going against the common interests of the rest of the family, the rest of the group. Now, Eritrea, I will not say the Eritreans betrayed this or that, because it was not all of the Eritreans. And some of the Eritreans became Romanized and Italianized and decided to work on the side of them. Not all of the Eritreans. Not all of the.
No, that is true. And even the young people who threw the grenades at Graziani, which caused the massacre, were two young people from Eritrea. So you're very right that it's not.
Yeah, may I finish address this
yes,
person
sir.
making these comments, because
yes,
we cannot say everything at one time. People assume that we are taking the name Ethiopia to be an Ethiopian word. But in time, when we get enough time to reason, people might, if they care, realize that we do know that not all that these words are not Ethiopian words as such. When Haile Selassie established the university in Ethiopia, and they were teaching in English mostly, there was criticism, and it is understandable criticism. Why are you teaching in a European tongue? Haile Selassie explained to the people who had this misgiving that certain subjects and certain modern sciences, that means science that developed not too long ago, because sciences have been developed over the 200,000 years that we have recorded history. But some of the sciences are more modern. Nuclear science has been developed more in modern time than other things that was older. And some of the social sciences are more recent, because you have social science, I have natural science, I have other sciences. So it is that Haile Selassie told them, say, for instance, there's no word in the Amharic language for nuclear reactor, and him name out some other terms. And because of that, for the time being, we will perpetuate, or we will use instruction in these certain subjects to be in European language, or specifically English, because up to now the Amharic or the different languages in Ethiopia have not developed any agreed words that translate into nuclear reactor, or will translate into carburetor, you know?
Yes.
So until you make a word in Amharic for carburetor, you will hear people even speaking Amharic having the word carburetor in the midst of the Amharic. So it
Yes.
is.
That's how language
So
works.
I'm saying here now, no complete people was treacherous. It was not all of the Eritreans who betrayed Ethiopia or betrayed them neighbor. It's not all of the Jamaicans who sell out to politicians. It's not all, and furthermore, we are not even really Jamaicans. Sometimes we as Rastafari, we either make a slip, or we just for common understanding sake, refer to the people born in Jamaica as Jamaican. We are not Jamaicans, yet sometimes we refer to the people in Jamaica, the population in Jamaica, as Jamaican. It's not all Jamaican bow to the trickery of the politicians. It's not all Jamaican bow to the trickery of the religious leaders. Although you might have a predominant amount doing things that are negative, it's not all. And that's why I sometimes like to remind people that I reason with that it is wise to differentiate between the government in a country and the people of the country. The government of Jamaica is a far cry from the people of Jamaica. Completely different. The government of Jamaica does not represent the people of Jamaica and does not represent the majority thinking of the people in Jamaica. But they are glad to be the government that they may rape and pillage. That is why it is left, the job is left for us to do, to take Jamaica, we, the ordinary citizen, although we are not Jamaican, to take the territory and to dismiss the colonial rule that is going on here, and to establish some civilized and modern rule where government is not a rulership, but government is a service. Government is a service. We will do that. It has been done in some countries. We will establish, we will overturn this system, and we have a right to do so. Human beings have a right to overthrow any system that is harmful to them. And this government system in Jamaica certainly is harmful. It's a cancer, as a matter of fact. And we will get rid of this cancer, and we will take control of this territory for the time that we have left here. All of us is not going to stay here. Many of us will leave, maybe more than half of the population. But we will retain control of this territory as an overseer's territory of Africa, as long as we need to. We will do so. And this is not no pipe dream. For a 40 year now, I no smoke no ganja. So no ganja or no illusion or no dream or influence. And we will do this thing. And Babylon know it, you know. They know that we are going to do this thing. And that's why they have plans. That's why they send most of the money abroad. And most of these phallic suckers have houses abroad, bank accounts abroad, and they have planes. They even lengthen the runway at Up Park Camp, the main military camp in Jamaica, so that they may have the access to leave Jamaica without reaching the airport at Palisadas. Yeah, let me hear from you.
Yeah, no, I'm giving thanks. I'm talking to my Eritrean brethren in the comments. I don't want the brother feel like I'm attacking Eritrea. I'm just noting the history. We're not ignorant to the history, but let me tell you something. Our comment section is the greatest comment section on the planet, and we're open to learning new information. The eye is coming, the brethren in the comments from Eritrea is doing a lot of slogans and thing, and I'm trying to get some information. He's saying we don't know Eritrean history. I'm saying share with us the history so we can be educated, that we can recommend books if you have any books that you can recommend. But I mean, we have to be honest. I mean, if Eritrea was colonized by the Ottoman Empire, Egypt for a time, we have to say that. There's no shame in acknowledging the history. If they were colonized by Italy at one time, and when they were colonized by Italy, they only had the education system up to the 4th grade education. We have to be honest. We can't act like that never happened and we don't know what we're saying.
May I say something?
Yeah.
I do empathize with people when they hear a wide blanket description of their people in a negative way, because as we know, but sometimes in language, especially, we're not making an excuse, but the fact is, because we're not speaking our own language, many times we use words inadvertently and sometimes deliberately that throw away the baby after we wash the baby. We wash the baby, and we're glad to wash the baby. We take a breather and say, all right, boy, this bathtub is heavy. Make I take a breather before I throw the bath water. Then we lift up the bathtub and throw away the bath water. Never remember, so we never take the baby out there. So here we are now determined to take the baby, which is the majority of Eritrean, out of the bathtub, before we declare that Eritrea is a tub of infamy. I know that no offense meant not on either side, and I feel it for them. Yes.
Yes. But I brought it up because a lot of time we talk about the victory, but we don't look at what had to be overcome by Ethiopia to win this victory. And we hear the allegation, and we're going to address the allegation that Haile Selassie was a puppet. We're going to go through all of that. Don't worry yourself. Even Stank and Dank, the new good brethren who has been supporting the platform with so much beautiful information. I know, a lot of ones are very critical of some of the chess moves that His Majesty made as it relates to the Europeans. And we can go into that. This channel, let me just share with the brethren and sisters. This channel, we don't run from information. We ask that the information is presented and then we can address it, and we go in it and we deep dive and we see why. Because one thing we have to realize with His Majesty, he did not live in a vacuum or a fantasy world. The same thing I see people criticizing the Sahel states, Bongo Jerry, Ibrahim Traore for making deals with the Russians and the Chinese, and I see people are criticizing, not understanding the realities of geopolitics and knowing that you cannot fight this global system by yourself. You have to have allies. You have to align yourself where it makes sense for your nation and the interests of your people. You know what I mean? And compromises have to be made. Leaders don't have the luxury of living in the ideal, which a lot of us as Pan-Africans want to live in the ideal. His Majesty had to align with someone against the British, and the British did try to take over. We can't deny that. You know what I mean? And we'll get into that as we go through the history. But let's continue on the timeline. I just wanted to bring up, and also we have to talk about races that even were loyal to His Majesty. Let me just touch this, Bongo Jerry. Also didn't listen because His Majesty was telling them that they could not fight in the traditional tactics with the white shamas and thing. He was telling them, these people have airplanes, they will bomb you. We have to scatter, not gather in large, assemble. We have to fight a guerrilla war. Ras Imaru was His Majesty's closest companion, was probably the only one of the generals who listened, and he had probably the most battle success prior to the Battle of Meichu, which was the seminal battle of the war before Haile Selassie went into exile. Haile Selassie is also the last head of state to fight on the battlefield while in the position of head of state. Now we have generals that have been elevated to head of state after the fact. But in terms of a head of state, a king specifically, he's the last king to fight on the battlefield in the modern era. And we have several eyewitnesses of his bravery at the Battle of Maichu, and where they were also gassed. And after being gassed, mustard gas, they were also attacked by the Oromo people who are in the region. At the time, again, these people were historic enemies of the crown and didn't understand the geopolitical stakes that if Ethiopia fell to Italy, the history would have to be written that Africa had completely succumbed to white supremacy from Cape to Cairo, from the River Nile to the Timbuktu. We would be having a different reasoning today. So a lot of the races died because they refused to listen to John Hoy, who had advised them not to fight in the traditional methods. And it wasn't until the exile that Ethiopia instituted full guerrilla war. And guerrilla war was not strange to Ethiopians. I'm not saying that Ethiopia didn't have a tradition, but the generals, some of them had been children at the Battle of Adwa. And so they wanted to recreate that Adwa style of destroying the Italians. And so they fought the war in that fashion and suffered heavy casualties because of the use of mustard gas. We also have to acknowledge the bravery of the Ethiopian warriors who were leaping onto tanks, opening up the tank, chop off a man's head in the tank, pull them out of the tank. All of these things were happening with the Ethiopian warriors. Many mechanized columns went down. And again, Ras Emeru had quite a bit of success in the early stages of the war before the mustard gas was employed. And this is one of the reasons why Italy employed the mustard gas, is because it wasn't a cakewalk as they had assumed because of the bravery of the Ethiopian warriors. So I just want to make that clear before Bongo Jerry takes us to His Majesty's exile out of the country. Why did His Majesty leave the country? All of that. Go ahead. And the brethren was saying who were the Adwa fighters. And again, I don't want the IFA tribe bring us into tribalism, and I stand corrected. As Bongo Jerry said, I have to apologize. It was not all the Eritreans that fought with Italy. Many Eritreans stood with their brothers against foreign aggression. So don't put me into a tribalist framework. We're just acknowledging that as Africans, many times we take the side of the oppressor against our brother instead of standing up for our independence. All right, Bongo Jerry, take us to why His Majesty chose to leave the country.
Chose to what?
Why did His Majesty leave Ethiopia? The council.
Well, as I said,
yes.
As I said, the Emperor of Ethiopia, especially since Menelik, always have a crown council that advise the crown. And from ancient time, most wise rulers, even when them is all powerful, them still have counselors and advisors. And the Crown Council in 1936 decided that the best chance that Ethiopia had to catch up in the arms race would be for Haile Selassie, the first well-traveled head of the Ethiopian Empire, almost since the Queen of Sheba makes some travel. And it would be the wisest to let him lead the fight to get support outside, not only from the Western world of the countries that seem favorable, but also from the African people around the world, especially outside Africa, we knew were very favorable to Ethiopia and to all African countries that were not freed. So the Crown Council, knowing that him have all of these contacts, say our best chance is for you to go out and lead the fight internationally, and us to steer and fight underground guerrilla, because that is how guerrilla do. Them go underground and outside, and going outside. Haile Selassie was the chief guerrilla who went outside. Anyway, long story short, he did already have that idea in mind, and the Crown Council saw it fit, and they approve and advise. And he traveled with some close members of his family, some advisors, some military advisors, as well as religious advisors, political advisors, economic advisors. And they traveled out to make contact with the rest of the world and to attend the League of Nations. He did not go to England for his exile. He went to Jerusalem. And England and some faulty historians have created the impression that Haile Selassie left Ethiopia to go to England. He did not leave to go to England. Anyway, we have to make all of this history and explanation and discussion interesting. If we're talking about things that happened nearly 100 years ago, if we do not discuss them in a way that people can relate to, their interest will fade, and it will be there, but it will be faint. And therefore, we have to make it interesting. And that is why I don't immediately go into all of the details that I know. When we go into all the details that we know from time to time on a journey, the journey becomes almost like a head counting, and people might not maintain their interest as long because the picture either get vague. A picture can get either too vague or it become too crowded. A picture can have detail or it can have too much detail for one sitting. So now, Haile Selassie went into exile, and he took into exile with him one of his relatives who he had sent abroad many years before, because he himself had understanding of the different countries by traveling to some of them. But he also needs other people who have traveled to other countries, other people who have studied in other countries. Malaku Bayen, him cousin, had gone to India many years. I think he went to India even before he went to Howard University in America.
Okay.
And Tafari had sent many Ethiopians to India to gather medical expertise, because India, like Cuba, for many, many years, over 100 years, has specialized in training medical personnel and even sending them other places in the world. Cuba is the next country that specializes in training medical personnel. It's not just in a COVID, or it's not recently because of glaucoma and other Cuban expertise. Cuba been sending medical expertise all over the world, including Africa and Jamaica, long time, because Cuba trains many, many more people in medical expertise, more than what Cuba even needed. And India was another such country. So Haile Selassie took on an assortment of people along with him. When he went into exile, he took priests, he took soldier, he took military advisor, he took economic advisor, he took housekeeper, he took cook, and him also took medical personnel. One of his daughters took the opportunity to go to nursing school while in exile. And him named a hospital after her. I think one of the primary hospitals in Addis Ababa was named after her. After
Princess Sahai. Yes.
Sahai Hospital. And anyway, he took an assortment of people like any wise man would do. And he went into that exile. The British begged him to leave Jerusalem, but he could have visualized that from before. They were afraid of him staying in Jerusalem because the majority of the people round about, when they heard that Tafari and Haile Selassie, the ruler of Ethiopia, was in Jerusalem, many of them realized the close relationship and family connection between millions of them and millions of Ethiopians. I'm not talking about this royal family connection. They're talking about the family connection between millions of people and millions of people. Now, the Oromo in Ethiopia once referred to as a Gala. But the Gala don't accept that name as other people give them that name, just like how we, the African, don't accept the term Negro, even though we tolerate Marcus Garvey's use of that word at that time. We're still not going on like we're not grating over Garvey because we not say Negro and him you did say Negro. It is not wise to be crowing over things that because of hindsight, although some of us from that time reject the name Negro, not only hindsight after the fact.
Yes.
We don't do not all of the things that Garvey do. I do. But at the same time, I'm not going to crow over him because him did far more before I was born than what I hope to be able to do. Anyway, long story short is that the Oromo people, many of them resent the regime of Ethiopian government because the Ethiopian government represent one tribe mostly, not now, but for the most part for the last couple hundred years represent the Amharic people, the Christian people, which is a minority in Ethiopia. So if you have people in Ethiopia who is a majority being ruled for hundreds of years by a minority set of people of a different religion and a different tribe, and always rubbing in your nose that you are inferior, there's going to be resentment. And once we as Rastafari or we as African do not realize that there's a lot of resentment, and some of it have some foundation, some of it have some good reason. At the same time, not because you have resentment, now you're going to mash up the whole government and mash up the country. But we do have to understand, what is an empire? An empire is a government of one people over other people that is not their own people. So the Ethiopian Empire has been the government of one tribe or one religion who has overcome the other tribes around them. Sometimes them close relatives, them overcome and rule in.
I have to push back a little bit because, yes, the Amhara, are there. First of all, most of the emperors were mixed in terms of not just Amhara, but they have Oromo heritage, they have Garagi, them have, all of the different things. Tigray, same Eritrea there. So, and Haile Selassie is a good example because he has Oromo, he has Amhara, he has Guragi. You look at Empress Taito, who was from the Yijo Oromo, who were Christian. So even though you have Oromo, some of the Oromo too are Christian, and even during the Zemeni Masafit, which was the era that preceded Tedros, the Oromo were the dominant players. Ras Ali, Empress Menen, who was his mother, who the emperors in Gondar were puppet kings during the Zemeni Mesafit, which Oromo dominated, the imperial court. So, and then you had so you there's a mixture, even though they put up Amhara there and Tigray, which are the northern tribes. There has always been this admixture, which is why the Arabs use the word Abyssinia and Habash, because there's always been that intermixing, which is why we reject the ethno state that they try to impose on Ethiopia. And this is why His Majesty said Ethiopia must never be divided by tribal lines. And he really stressed that, particularly to the Amhara people, that Ethiopia must never be divided as one Ethiopia. And that was what the whole concept of the federation with Eritrea. This is one people. Even His Majesty tried to federate with Somalia. We are one people. You know what I mean? So I just want to push back a little bit, because not just Amhara. Emperor Johannes, for example, was from Tigray. You know what I mean? And you had other emperors that came from Tigray, some from a different region as well. So I just want to interject that part there for our Ethiopian audience. Continue.
I know that even the Oromo has dominated Ethiopia as an empire already, and many other tribes have dominated
Yes.
Ethiopia as an empire
Yes.
over the
Yes.
others. So the same people complaining now, they were in that position one time. But the
Yes.
fact is
Yes.
this: the fact is this:
Yes.
empires, the time for empires is past,
Yes. Yes.
and Haile Selassie knew that he was going to be the last emperor of Ethiopia. He knew this.
Yes.
And not only that, royalty is a recent development in the culture of mankind. And matter of fact, it was after the children of Jacob, although some people claim all of these is make-up story. I hear even some Rastafari saying that enough of these things is make-up story. Why? Because they read it in English and presume says white man write it. Even the children of Jacob, when they left out of Africa after 400 years, and they were still living in a nomadic government and nomadic nation, because all nations were nomadic up to recently, up to a few thousand years ago, all nations. And when they came back and saw some of their previous neighbors now settled living, which is civilization, live in one place and not being nomad. And after them live one place and is not nomad, after a few hundred years, them set up a ruling, them choose a family and say, all right, this family going to have authority over all us. And then probably agree to it, or that family beat them till them agree to it. And then them see the kings, the other nations around them having kings and rulership and so on. Some of the children of Jacob start to admire it, because if you're the most prosperous neighbor that me have, and you have in all kind of luxury that I don't have, and you set up a family to rule over you, that is Lord and King over you, you're going to feel like, say, boy, if I go and live that standard of living, I have to go have kings over me. And so it was, they said to the Supreme Court of them, because they had a Supreme Court, you know. Although they was nomadic, they had a Supreme Court.
Yes.
They had representatives of each tribe that sit down and they call them judges. The representative of each tribe named the judge of Dan, the judge of Joseph, the judge of that. And the whole of them together was a Supreme Court where they have a set of rules where them live by. And if anybody violate the rules and go grab where a man daughter or go thief a man cattle, first you go to the man and say, you take my cattle, please give it back. Please give me back my daughter. If him don't want to hear you, go with a witness. And if him don't want to hear you and the witness, now you go to the Supreme Court and you lodge a complaint. And the Supreme Court summon the person who the complaint is against and summon you making the complaint. Have a hearing. And at that hearing, the Supreme Court, those judges together can decide by the evidence which one likely is in the wrong, and they can put the wrong right. Now, that is a great system if you have a set of rules in a family and a nation, and you have a court to judge, and they settle disputes. That is what you can have. That's what the League of Nations is about, an organization to settle disputes that you don't have no more war. But the people in Israel, they now said to themselves, say, why we don't want no judges again and no court now? We want one king. And that is how they brought in kings in Israel. And the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice said to them, say, you're not going to like king, you know. King going to take away the whole of your daughter them and use them. And then going to take away your son and use as army. And then going to collect tax from you and oppress you. And these people them say, no, we want king. And when them get the first king Saul, them did get some cruel oppression. The second king David was much better, but he wasn't perfect neither. And none of the kings have been perfect. Haile Selassie himself tell you that him is not perfect. And yet you have our brethren and sisters who say him is perfect. So you find that human beings live in denial because it's enjoyable to say that you are the highest people in the world. All other people are below you. And your king is the highest king on the earth. And him is king over all of the kings on the earth. So this is a kind of childish living at one stage and not moving on and find out more. And I don't care, because I don't care for ratings personally. And I don't need to be highly esteemed. And therefore, much of what I say is not going to be useful to people who like ratings and who like to feel like they are part of an elite. I am a part of no elite. But anyway, so it is Haile Selassie also. Haile Selassie also abandoned many things that them didn't want him abandon. And
Yes.
Haile Selassie moved like an ordinary citizen more than any emperor before, even though him still
Yes.
retained some of the trappings of imperial rule and so on, because him know that people learn gradually.
He would get out of his vehicle at a work site and just start pick up things and work on the construction site, you know, and do them thing then at Addis as Addis was being built. So the lot of things, as the I said, go and the hospital observe surgery. He would pop up at the children's school, go to the cafeteria, taste them lunch, make sure that it was up to standard. He was very active in all aspects of the development of Ethiopia, as the I say, and very important.
Yes. So
that,
to make
go
to
ahead.
make to make life, well, we don't have to make life interesting. Life is interesting, but to make the accounts of life interesting, so that people will be interested to practice better and learn more. We have to share. We have to share these understanding. Not only that, for us to properly unite and us to combine, a lot of reconciliation has to go on between people, between families, between individuals, between nations, between regions. Because a lot of wrong has been done by us to one another, sometimes not even knowing it. So that is why, if we are wise, we do come off of our high horse and extend the hand of goodwill to people who we have even have differences even before, even recently. And by learning this, that's how I say we have to be prepared to become part of a new race. We
Yes.
put away differences and decide to live together. Him say we were scarcely what we grew up, our growing up and our schooling has ill prepared us, has not prepared us well for the things that we need to do. We have not been prepared well by our past experience and teaching. But that's why we are a work in progress. Anyway, we have to keep it interesting, and that is why even young people, especially young people, we have to learn or teach or share with them. Like, for instance, Jamaica. Sometimes we think of ourselves as Jamaican, even though the Rasta man and woman always remind the people we are not Jamaican. Jamaicans come to have an attitude that what? We are the greatest sprinters in the world. May we correct that by saying that we have the greatest record, but to say that we are the greatest, this and nobody else can equal us and nobody can come better. These things are short-sighted, and in all different realms of life, it is good for us to realize that all human beings are closely related, not far related, no, very closely related. And even though we see a lot of bad features and bad behavior in others, and it is very easy to see the bad ways in other people more than in ourselves and our relatives. So a lot of us, even Islam, not Islam and all, even the black Muslim congregation in America used to teach of the white man as the devil, and used to have a lot of narrative and philosophy and history saying that it was a black scientist named Jacob who experimented and created the white man in a lab. And the white man is a devil, and a lot of narratives like these. When will we abandon some of these fantasy? Because we respect many of the people that we meet in Islam, especially a man like Malcolm X and many more. And Malcolm X did abandon a lot of these fallacies and narratives, and he started to grow more. Right up in a middle age, him start grow again, have a late spurt in life, you understand me? And outgrew even the nation of Islam, which he helped to improve. Improve it in many ways, even though he was a whole prisoner and a whole criminal. Improve himself, and then him improve him organization. And he even organized the military protection and security of the organization and improve it so much so that Liquormore was able to use some of that same military against him to attack him and assassinate him. But he did lose that. But he had to relinquish some of the old mistakes and the old fallacies and narratives that we talk about other people. And some of these people really have some bad characteristics, but not the entire race of white man, not the entire nation of any nation is completely evil. And not the entire nation of Ethiopia is completely righteous either. But little by little, Rastafari is a service to come and serve the rest of the African people and help free them. And also the rest of all humanity. So the Rastafari is not a rulership, because modern government is not a rulership. It's a service, like how we have medical service, educational service, and all kind of different service, sanitation service, we collect garbage.
Yes, and
King
that's
is
why.
garbage man. All of them have more responsibility, but the garbage man have complete responsibility to help keep you and keep even the king surroundings sanitized. Anyway, and the female them is no lower than we. It's taking a little time for many males to realize that. And some of the females we say them is queen or empress. We'll have to come to the understand that they are no higher than anybody else. And all of us couldn't be royalty. I, for my part, am no royalty.
Yes, yes. And we have to talk about the Mercy Proclamation, which was the fulfillment to I at the highest level of the Christ consciousness in terms of forgiving those who have done you wrong. His Majesty gave a proclamation that the Italians should not be harmed after May 5th, that we should not repay evil for evil, because there were people searching for Italians to scalp them after, because so much atrocities had been done during those 5 years of occupation. And His Majesty did not repay that evil, and a lot of those soldiers were very thankful. Some of them stayed in Ethiopia and served the empire. Some of them likely were spies too, and them thing there. We're gonna seal up in about 15 minutes. We have the legend himself, Bongo Jerry. He's not royalty, but he's a legend, and if him try run from that, we just put that upon him again, because we give thanks that he is here with us. If you're watching live, let us know in the comment section where you're watching from. Put it in the comment section. All the Lion Pride, big up yourself. This is a collaboration with Iyaad Radio. You see Bongo Jerry with the mic, Bossy, headphone Bossy, Iyaad Radio.
Yeah, Iyaad Radio. Under the auspices of Breadlocks.
Breadlocks, the article Dreadlocks. You know what I mean? So we have to big up Breadlocks, Iyaad Radio. We're gonna be trying to do this more frequently. This is what we're all about. Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media, coming together, working together to bring the sounds of ones like Bongo Jerry. And Bongo Jerry, I have to big you up. I see you on Ija Star, I see you up on Iyaad Radio, I see you up on Lion Voice Network, the whole ecosystem, you know what I mean? And this is what the vision was of those that came before us, that we would have a Rastafari media ecosystem. This was one of the 22 points that came out of the 1983 conference at UE, was that Rastafari must create their own media, you know what I mean? And look at it now, 2026, African victory. We have a whole media ecosystem of brethren. Bongo Jerry, you're not going to find him maybe on the mainstream, but you can see him all over Rastafari media. What a victory, Bongo Jerry. How do I see it as one who is a media pioneer, Rastafari media pioneer? How you feel about what the I see?
Well, as I said earlier, this link up is being done through the facility of Iyaad Radio under the auspices of the creator of such medium dreadlocks. And as I said, 1983, there was a resolution at that conference at the UWI. And I was at that conference, having just relinquished all my duties and office in the Ethiopian World Federation Charter 15. I had served as executive there for 14 years, from 1969, August, until October 1983, when Iyaad, who had seized control of the Ethiopian World Federation Charter 15 and demanded that the members now change the name of the assembly to 12 Tribe of Israel. Well, I had stood up for certain things, not only me and many of the people, especially people who me and them was moving together before, because we have moved together from teenager for years. And me and several of them, male and female, who came into the organization starting in August 1969, it was who did bring about the vast growth of the organization in the 4 years between when we joined 69 and when Iyaad changed the name of the organization in 1973 September. And it was our presence and our activity that brought the spectacular increase in membership and participation in the Ethiopian World Federation Charter 15, which was established by His Majesty Haile Selassie I. But later on, Iyaad kind of hijacked and took it away from the original organizer who got the charter, Brother Douglas. Now, Iyaad is a very bright man and so on, and have a very strong personality. And frequently, these strong personalities do take away vehicles from other people. Marcus Garvey himself might have had a dream to take away certain things from Haile Selassie, and it led to him making some criticism, but very harsh against Haile Selassie in London in 1937. But he was not able to do so. But unlike that, Brother Douglas was not of the stuff of His Imperial Majesty. So Iyaad was able to seize control. It's the same thing like with Marcus Garvey and His Majesty. And the same thing like the Jesus and the John the Baptist, two first cousins moving close together. One of them is a forerunner, and the other one is a deliverer. And them work in tandem. But sometimes some human being so bright, they cannot resist the temptation to take the reins of control. So many people like that. And they have made some contribution, but frequently they kick over the bucket after giving a pail of milk. They do some great work, and then they want to become dictatorial. They alone make all decisions. Unlike His Majesty, who gave away his authority and disseminated his authority. Instead of that, Iyaad named an executive who were just figureheads. While we were executives in the Ethiopian World Federation Charter 15, after Iyaad suggested to the membership that they must choose the executive according to the month of them born, which is not what Haile Selassie said, we were in a position of being figureheads. I decided I'm not going to be any figurehead. I was not brought up to be any figurehead or to try to feel like I am no ruler. Neither ruler nor figurehead. So I used to speak out when the need was there, regardless, and Iyaad could not intimidate me. And there was many, not me alone, I talk like me, a big guy, big hero. There are many hundreds of us that he could not intimidate. But he did intimidate maybe the majority. But there was a large minority which he could not intimidate. Anyway, I only mentioned that to show how things happen over time. And from that time, we were in radio. Before God knew we as young Ras. The real pioneer of radio as Rastafari is Ras Michael, who started a radio program from 1966.
Yes, Ras Michael and Sons of Negos.
Yeah, the Sons of Negos Church Host. I myself did not get into radio until 1969. And I didn't get my own program. I didn't get a program for myself until 30 years later. I was in radio on and off from 1969. I didn't get my own program till 1999.
Okay.
And by the next couple of years, I had programs at various places. But anyway, we are the Rastafari have always been working towards having media facilities, the medium of communication. Media is a plural of medium. A medium is something that connects two other things. Medium is something or someone that connects two other things or two other people or more. So media is a plural of medium. So the media is the communications media, the connecting thing that connects people through newspaper or through radio, through television, through telegram or magazine, or through talking in public, in person. So yes, the Rastafari have always wanted to have a large, a significant media presence. So after Ras Michael Sons of Negroes program went on for a few years, mainly being a program of worship and music, but providing also some information and education. After a while, it was off the air, and we, the Rastafari, was working all the while. We must have, and because of that, me and my teenage brethren and some older one, we established a print medium, a newspaper in 1968. And we established others after that, and others grew out of us because the Abeng newspaper, which was well known in the late 60s and early 70s, grew out of our experience and our efforts as Rasta Youth with Black Man Speaks. So now, here it is now internationally, yourself in America. You mentioned you mentioned the other one from England. What name again?
I just star.
You mentioned Breadlock's Iyaad Radio, and there are many more podcasts
many more
radio programs, both on free-to-air radio and internet. And gradually we are assembling a tangible media presence in print, radio, television, internet. So, so we're going from strength to strength.
We love it. We love it, Bongo Jerry. I'm just honored to be a part of it. And I'm honored every time you come on the platform and bless us with your encyclopedic knowledge. And as I say, I love it because Lion Voice Network is not a yes man factory. Everyone have their opinion, everybody share, and we give everybody an opportunity to share where they are. We learn. I'm not trying to convert Jerry. Bongo Jerry is not trying to convert I'm not trying to convert the comments. The comments now go convert We share. Every man stand on their information and their knowledge, and we sharpen. That is how we sharpen the swords, so that we are all sharp and we all add. Every time I have Bongo Jerry on the platform, I'm a student. I'm learning new information, new bits and pieces, putting the puzzle together. And it's so important, Bongo Jerry, for the eye to share. And I know hundreds of people will watch this on the replay. If you're live here, I see one from all over here live. I saw my brethren, Bingi Sean, tuning in from Ghana. Big up Habisha family in Ghana. I see a brethren, Quest, from Eritrea, tuning in. Big up yourself, Quest. And we love the eye. Don't feel no way. Rastafari, sometimes fire burn, but it's a love. Everyone have the right to express. Queen Mother Moses, big up yourself every time. I see Jamarcus out of Bahamas. Big up yourself, Jamarcus. Greetings, family. And I tuning in from Bahamas. Naya Bingi family, love and blessing Bongo Jerry. Him blessing and protection be over the eye. Global, the thing is global. It's so important that African Victory Day we come together to celebrate the fullness, and to celebrate the victory, because this victory, I say, was the beginning of the end of modern colonization and colonialism. From here you had the independence movement, Egypt in 1953, You had Ghana 1958 and so forth and so on, and it just started to roll. Now, we know about neocolonialism, and Ethiopia faced neocolonialism. His Majesty called out neocolonialism if you read the speeches. And a lot of people who criticize His Majesty as a puppet never read the speeches of His Majesty, don't know the chess moves that were being made and the things that His Majesty did. I recommend that you all look at an interview I did with Makonnen Ketema, the son of Ketema Yefuru, who was the foreign minister of Haile Selassie, and he will tell you how Ethiopia ran into problems with the West. These same people you say Ethiopia was a puppet too. You have to know that America, England, all of these didn't want China to be admitted into the United Nations. Ethiopia was at the forefront of that advocacy. That they didn't want to see that. 1973, when His Majesty expelled Israel from Ethiopia, that was not sanctioned by the West. You know what I mean? So when you come over here and you drop a word like puppet, you have to have some receipts. Don't just come and say that, because we can demonstrate how His Majesty was not a puppet. Was he a puppet when he was training the African liberation movements and funding them in the South, in the Mau Mau was taking refuge in Ethiopia, when he was granting scholarships to African independent states, over 400 scholarships to African countries? If you want to come over here and talk about His Majesty being a puppet, you better have some receipts, family, because we don't, over here is high level reasoning. We have the best comment section on the planet, and we don't, we're open to information, but present your information. And I find for go and say I don't know, and go and go do some research and come forward and we reason. But don't just come over here and say His Majesty is a puppet because you read in a BBC say His Majesty was a puppet. No, because we read deep and we do our research. But Bongo Jerry, give us your final sound on the importance, because we said, what is the importance of African Victory Day to the eye as an elder? Why is May 5th important? Why is this day important for us to recognize?
The liberation of Ethiopia on the 5th of May 1941 was the turnaround of the war. From then on, the Allies, starting with the liberation of Ethiopia, the Allies start to have the upper hand over the Axis. Haile Selassie was in England 4 years, and the Germans had bombarded England for months, the Battle of Britain. Clouds, a whole sheet of plane, the whole sky was covered with German planes flying over and bombing England. The Battle of Britain. And after they softened up Britain, they were going to come on the ground and on the sea and invade Britain and capture Britain. And Marcus Garvey died because of the shock of reading the news that Italy now joined in with Germany. Because Italy wasn't fighting with Germany, Italy now joined up with Germany when Germany overrunning England, Marcus Garvey afraid now, so when Germany coming to England, the more fine when Marcus Garvey live and hold him right away and hold all people like him, and hold Haile Selassie, Then Marcus Garvey here say, Italy coming to the war and join Germany going to make it worse now. Marcus Garvey dropped down and dead when him get that news. And at the same time, little before that, Churchill, when England was in so much trouble that the government fall and them give the prime ministership to Churchill, see if Churchill can rescue England from the German and the Italian. Malaku buying His Majesty cousin, where that he sent to the West to set up the Ethiopian World Federation, dropped down and dead the January 1940. Churchill become the prime minister. Marcus Garvey dead. Churchill sent to His Majesty and tell His Majesty, say, we want to help you to go back into Ethiopia, because if we don't get a victory through Ethiopia liberation, England going down under the Germans. So we're going to start turn around the war by capture back Ethiopia from the Italian and the German. And Haile Selassie did not stay in England till 1941. His exile was not from 36 to 41 in England. He left England in late 1940 secretly, went into Egypt where the German was making some rapid progress under a man named Rommel, the desert rat. Him take tank and armored car and run over the desert, the Sahara and all them places, and capture more and more Africa by it being in Egypt. And there it was Haile Selassie was flown to Egypt, gather up some forces, and go up in Sudan and start turn the war around. That Mussolini now have to take off him support off of Europe and come back to rescue himself in Ethiopia. The German have to take off troops off of London and save London to go get back and support him soldier them in the desert in Africa. So the both Mussolini, Italy, and Germany, Hitler have to divert themselves from attacking England and that save England. Because they have to reply now to Haile Selassie and the allies going up through Sudan into Ethiopia, turn the war around, and take off the attention off of England and save England. You understand me? 1940. But him never reached in actual Ethiopia till 41. Because from December 40, him in Egypt, gone up in Sudan, and it take him 6 months until May before him enter Addis Ababa. And that's the significance of Ethiopia being the first country liberated, turn around the war and save England from being invaded by Germany. Cause Marcus Garvey for drop down dead and hold everything up.
Give thanks, family. There you have it, Bongo Jerry. This is a classic episode once again. I see the love in the comments, and I love it. You know what I mean? As I say, and you know, when we play the end credits, we always feature the comments because we have the best comment section on the internet. It's not a yes man club over here. You have people of all different opinions, and it's shared respectfully, and we block with sound, and we go, you know, forward, and we challenge each other. You know what I mean? Masculine man type of thing, feminine women type of thing. You know what I mean? But upful and bright. So I really give thanks. I say that this is the greatest comment section on the internet, and I defend the item anywhere I go. So big up the Lion Pride globally. All over the world, the Lion Pride is growing, and I'm thankful for your confidence and for your strength. For those who contribute financially, give thanks, and also remember, go and follow Raspective. It's a new Rastafari media platform out of Ethiopia. Ras Haile Culture and Sister Janelle on YouTube, Raspective. They did a piece on the Victory Day that I played a little clip at the beginning of the episode. So go and subscribe to their channel and support as the media platforms rise up. We love to launch them over here, you know what I mean? So I want our followers not just to follow Lion Voice. Make sure you go and subscribe to Iyaad Radio. Make sure you go subscribe to Ija Star. Make sure you go to Rastafari TV and click a button. All of the Rastafari media platforms, if I start calling names, I forget names. Just Jam Magazine, all of the ones them. Support our media. The more powerful that our media is, the more power that we have as a people. The more that we have platforms to move our goods and service. These are conduits of commerce as well. And we're going to be bringing more ads as well. If you have a project, I'm at the stage now where publicists are reaching out to have artists feature on the platform. So you'll see more artists coming on the platform as well. So stay tuned. We have so much planned for the eye tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have a special episode loading tomorrow. We have Dr. Kojo Opongwade He's a university professor born and raised in Ghana. And we're going to be talking about the whole situation in West Africa, what's going on in the Sahel, Mali being invaded by jihadists, all of that. We're going to go into that. What's going on with Mahama in Ghana, with the Galamsey, the illegal gold mining, what's happening with the, the whole nationalization of the gold industry in Ghana. We're going to go deep into West Africa tomorrow, family. So make sure you tune in Wednesday, 8 p.m. our regular time. We have here the legend himself, Bongo Jerry. We're going to be featuring Bongo Jerry at least once a month. We are going to try make Bongo Jerry come, and we'll have different topics. I want to really go into the history of Paul Bogle and the Jamaica independent struggle with Bongo Jerry as well. You know what I mean? There's some topics, Bongo Jerry, that I really want to go deep with the eye, because the eye has the history like no others. You know what I mean? So I want to give the eye an opportunity to just say some final sounds before we seal up. Hold on, there's one question from Ras Super. I see your question, Ras Super. I'm going to get to it. Ras Super is one of our Ubuntu Lion Pride. Let me find that question. I saw it, Ras Super. 1 second. Let me see. This question was from Bongo Jerry. There we go. Question to Bongo Jerry. What was some of the reasons that Haile Selassie gave Shashamane, which is in the Oromo region, to Africans in the West? Do you know that, Bongo Jerry?
Yes, now, His Majesty knew of the Africans in the West desire to resettle all over Africa. And after he liberated Ethiopia in 1941, by the late 40s, he promised and delivered that he would give some land for the people, the African in the West, to come and settle. Now, the Oromo land in Arusi and other provinces there where Shashamane is, it is a farming region, and it is to the southern part of Ethiopia. And frequently when a central government control territory all over, and there's tribal predominance. Each province usually have a tribe that is a predominant one in that province. The provinces are roughly defined because the population is here, you draw the province there. But sometimes the province ignore all of that and just have arbitrary lines. But like the Oromo in the southern part, Arusi and a certain other part of Ethiopia, just like how in the north, where Harar is, you have a predominance of Islamic people. Harar coming like the Islamic capital of Ethiopia. And a matter of fact, there have been governments of Islamic persuasion that dominate Ethiopia that did most to concentrate in that area. And that's why Makonnen that's why Menelik did send him cousin Makonnen up there to bring peace and relation in the area. Sometimes you bring peace through conquest of arms, and you call that pacification. But sometimes you bring peace through diplomacy. Sometimes peace can also be forged by intermarriage. And that is one of the main reasons why Makonnen did have children with people who family was Islamic. And even His Majesty married his wife coming out of an Islamic family recently before that. So it is now that Haile Selassie gave land in the Oromo region, knowing that those Africans who resettle down there going to represent a loyalty to the crown in the midst of a tribal region that is not really Christian and that is not really that loyal to the crown. These are some of the measures that are taken sometime to either unify or to create a network of connection all over a vast territory. Even the Indian reservations in America is an example of that. The so-called Indians is them did the America first, the place belong to them, you know. The white man come capture it, and little more, the white man take away most of the Indian land, and then afterwards them grant some small piece of land, few 100 acre, and call it reservation, say it is reserved for them. And sometimes give them some privilege, but it's a way of conquering them still. And give them the privilege to have gambling house in their way, it's not legal in the rest of the state. And to consume alcohol without license. So through that you find that a lot of casinos were located in the Indian reservation in the United States. And a lot of the Indians became addicted to alcohol because of the free use of alcohol and no license that the American government did use. But all these is methods of conquest, you know.
Yes, yes.
So from the late 40s, Shashamane was granted their 500 acre, I think it's 100 hectare, or
yes,
but it's equal to 500. How much?
They call it gashas of land, but it was
a 5 gasha. I think it's 5 gasha.
It was like hectares. It's like hectares. I think it's a whole heap of land.
A decimal.
Yeah, it's a whole heap of land. Holy.
Anyway, from in the 40s that was given. Only one couple came there from the Caribbean, and then in 1955, His Majesty renewed his outreach to the people in the West on the occasion of his silver jubilee in 1955, 25 years after incarnation, 1930. And he sent out a lady who was a black American opera singer, very popular, almost as well known, not almost, but she was the type of person like Marian Anderson, the great opera singer. She named Mamie Richardson, and she went to Ethiopia for the 25th anniversary Silver Jubilee. And when she was going back to America, being an activist in the black movement in America, His Majesty gave her the news to come, especially to Jamaica, and spread the news that land is there for people to come. So coming back into the West and go America, she made a detour and came to Jamaica at least one time to give us that news. Also, when His Majesty was living in England in 1936 to 1940, he came in contact with somebody who was a female who was very active in the African liberation movement around the world, Una Marston, a Jamaican lady.
Yes,
he also gave her some news just before she died, 10 years after 1955. In 1965, she returned to Jamaica. She was living beside me, my next door neighbor. And she teach me enough of the things I know about Rastafari before I knew that I was Rastafari. Matter of fact, she helped to make me come to my knowledge that is Rastafari is my godfather. Una Marston, she named. So when she came back in 65, one of the last things she did, and I remember reason when she came back 65, one of the last things that she did was to move amongst the Rastafari movement and remind them that the emperor gave some land and them need to connect with them and so on. Even Rex Neckerford in 1962 was part of the technical mission that went to Ethiopia after the Rasta mission. After the government mission went with Plano and Fillmore Alvar and Dogemark. His Majesty said, don't send a political mission next time. Send a fact-finding mission of experts.
Yes.
Rex Neckerford went on that mission of experts and came back here in, I think, February 1962. And when he met the first Rastaman who entered university, Gartwhite, my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, Gartwhite, the first Rastaman entered university at 19 years old in 1966. And Gartwhite was found more than one time with him ganja pipe and ganja on the campus, by the campus police. And anytime them hold him, instead of them carry him to the vice chancellor for some drastic thing, them carry him to Rex Neckerford because them know Neckerford was chief person on the campus that Rasta identified with because he was one of the people who made the report on Rastafari in 1960. And Rexneck would sit down and tell Gartwright, say, you guys are joking. Him say, you know that the emperor want you no more than how you want him. The emperor will want you to come to Ethiopia and come settle and come do certain thing because the emperor told me, him next Rex Nettleford, that he wants all foreign teachers in Ethiopia to be replaced by Jamaicans. In other words, those hundreds of people teaching from abroad, Peace Corps people and various volunteer teachers teaching in Ethiopia from Europe especially. The emperor said one of the objectives he had that all foreign teachers in Ethiopia must be replaced by Jamaican teachers. And you Rasta youth in the university here, instead of working towards contact with Ethiopia, you spend most of your time on smoke ganja pipe. Well, I don't criticize nobody smoke. I want to tell you what the conversation between Nettleford and Gartwright in 19...
And I will say that that's consistent from the 1930s. His Majesty was recruiting Black Americans to come and to fill those positions, and the State Department stymied those efforts.
Yes, State Department of America blocked it because he took the champion black fighter pilot, Herbert Julian. He brought him to Ethiopia. He was the top black fighter pilot in the U.S. Air Force. And he took him to Ethiopia and he helped to establish the Ethiopian Air Force.
Yes.
And flew and taught Ethiopians to fly plane. But only one thing, him crashed the Emperor plane a couple of days before the coronation.
He had Trinidadian heritage too, I think, Herbert Julian.
Yes, they call him the Black Eagle.
And then he was replaced by John Robinson out of the
that's the brown eagle.
Yes.
That's the brown condor. The condor is an expert like the eagle, a vulture with a ball head, but it's a condor. So Herbert Julian
serious history.
Herbert Julian take the name the Black Eagle, and then the other guy take the name Brown. So that I want to wrap up with that. Apart from the fact that I had a good conversation when you called me 2 days ago, and gave me a surprise that on the other line was Faraika.
Nana Faraika, yes.
Mama Hamilton, Miss Norma Hamilton.
Yes,
now
yes.
88 or so years old.
Yes.
89 years old.
That's one of my teachers, Bongo Jerry. She's one of the elders that guide her into this liberty,
yes, I realized that she was a teacher of yours earlier. She did some stalwart work in the black movement and helped to reconcile the difference between the Garveyites and the Rastafaris. Because I know that when Marcus Garvey started Lick Out Pantafari in 1937, from that time the Garveyites have some hard feeling. Not the Garveyites, I don't want to blanket it like what I say, we mustn't blanket people.
Yes.
A lot of Garveyites had some hard feeling against Rastafari, and a lot of Rastafari have hard feelings against many Garveyites. Just like how the Maroons in turn, most of us have hard feelings about some of the treachery that was manifested by some Maroons, not all, and so on and so forth. These are some of the reconciliations and rapprochement that we have to achieve, and Faraika played that role as a Garveyite, as a Maroon, and as a Rastafari.
Yes, big up Mama Faraika, beloved of us. If we have an interview with her here on the Lion Voice, you can go into the Lion Voice archive. One of the few interview with Nana Faraika that you will find. We have it. So we do give thanks. Bongo Jerry, it's been an honor and a privilege once again. Bongo Jerry will return, so don't worry yourself. Make sure that you like, you comment, you share. Make sure that you follow Breadlocks, the article Dreadlocks. I want you to look on Bongo Jerry Boss's setup, microphone crisp, sounding nice. This is Iyaad Radio. On duty, on patrol. So big up Iyaad Radio. Breadlocks is right there off screen, making sure that everything irie with the Asian. So this is a unity broadcast. I just want the item. Go to Breadlocks YouTube, Iyaad Radio, subscribe. Let's get that channel monetized. We want to monetize all of the Rastafari YouTube channels. To monetize, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So I want the Lion Pride, same that the item has done for I. Go to these platforms, Iyaad Radio. Make sure you get him over 1,000 subscribers. We have a new platform, Raspective. Highly Culture, Sister Janelle, go to their platform subscribe. Let's get them over 1,000 and monetize Rastafari Media, and then support them, become monthly subscribers, just like how I have my Lion Pride on Patreon, and we need to grow that too. But just like I have my monthly subscribers, every Rastafari, every Pan-African should be putting their money where their mouth is. If we don't invest in our media, then we will not, we're not serious, put it that way. Every nation, every people, every interest invests in their own media, and they control their own narrative and their own story. And we are no different. Big up Sister Joan, I see the eye. Big up Sister Colleen. I see the family rolling out. We have to do this together. So big up all of the people them I have to trod. Bongo Jerry is here, and he will return. And remember that the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion Voice.
Got that right.
It's AWTITUDE representing for Lion's Voice. Yes, Massive. This is the time for I and
Yes,
I,
you got
the
that
Lion
right.
and tell I and I story, our story. Yes? And we reign and rule like this. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, I reign and rule. You can't take the Lion vibes, people. If you no fool, cause we no Selassie reign and rule. Reign and rule. Selassie, I reign and rule. Queen Omega drop them in the fire, pull from them, no Queen Omega, she reign and rule. Royal Kushite, ancient essence, Emperor Selassie in a majestical presence, flash of all sevens, projecting through I and I events. We sing a song for the king, we bring joy and blessing and overstanding, yeah. We hear Jah every day. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, reign and rule. Yes, I Lion Vibes, Selassie, reign and rule. Attitude say that. Boondocks, Black Organization of Noble Diplomats optimizing expressions to the world. Till the world, till the end.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lamb's voice. Now put it, I jolly said that.
Greetings, this is Shiloh. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Shiloh said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Rastafari. Lion of it tried with lioness like I do. Empress on the front line, we need you.
Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion forward for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We're here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
The time has come for lions to tell I and I own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I is Rastabat chilling from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to you Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it?
Rastafari, because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Yeah, like Rastafari, His Majesty and Empressment and bless. Yeah, man, hail it from Synchroy, Rastafari, hail you. Aye.
Empress man, and I young giant. Oh, your roll universally unfold. Be told, blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Yes, this is Tippy I. The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. You're listening to the Lion's Voice blog. Respect and love from St. Croix VI to the world. Rastafari.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. But people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.